Hi. Okay, got this working. Having technical difficulties here. I'm Lise Colucci, and I am one of the life coaches at Queen Being. And hello. I'm going to say hello to, I think Colleen is here, or she will be shortly, because we wanted to talk to you together about a group coaching opportunity that is happening starting this week. It's a new one that is, am I all glitchy and weird? If I am, I'm sorry. I'm having weird, am I like moving funny? I don't know. I can't tell. Does it look all right? Does it look like I'm having weird computer issues? Because I think I might be having internet issues right now. It would not let me, it wouldn't load live. I have no idea. Anyway, it's okay. Okay, good. Maybe it's on my end. So anyway, there's a new group coaching group for adult children of narcissists. So it's like a peer group that is being led by Colleen. She'll be coaching you guys. So if anyone is interested in that, I'll put a link in the comments at the end, or rather on the, you know what I'm talking about, down below. Put a link for that. Oh, good. Hi, Lynn. Hello, Colleen. Hello, Life's Revival. Hello, Phoenix. Colleen, talk to me. Talk to me. Tell me what's going on with the group. What types of things will you guys be talking about? Anything you want to share? I would have brought her on, but I don't know how to do that. So starting December 5th, and time is running out, she's saying. Yeah, it starts this Wednesday. It's 4 weeks, 1 hour. What time is it going to be? Could you remind me of the time? It'll be 1 hour meetings on video chat, not public like this, but private video. She says we'll be talking about inner child. And I'm sure she's typing more right now because I'm asking a bunch of questions while she's typing. Reparenting the inner child. Let me fix this so I can see what the heck I'm doing. There we go. Reparenting the inner child. It starts at 6 p.m. Central. So it'll be 6 p.m. Central starting on Wednesday, and that this week. So in 2 days. Anyway, if anyone is interested in that, it should be great. And I'm going to let Colleen give us more details through this chat. Through this live stream through chat. So she says it's every Wednesday for 4 weeks, $60 for all 4 weeks. Correct. So it'll be once a week meetings for 4 weeks, $60 for all 4 weeks. It comes to $15 a week. Anyway, how are you all doing otherwise? And Colleen, keep talking because lots of info can be had here and people might be interested. How's everyone else doing today? Anything that you guys want to talk about, or do you have questions or anything? Hi, Cindy. One thing that's coming up for some people and that I'm finding really interesting is what to do when you have a trigger and then you feel sort of ashamed that you reacted to that trigger. So that's something we could talk about too. With holidays coming up, Colleen says it should be extremely healing for all. We will also work on self-love and lots of self-care. Yeah, Colleen is a really great listener and very sweet and very knowledgeable. So it will be very healing, I think, for anyone who decides to join. Anybody else? Let's see. Tips and tricks for how to get through mastering gray rock. Oh, I like that. Wonder if you could give us a few now, just as a teaser here, because I think this time of year that is beneficial for everybody to hear. What are some of those? What's one good tip for mastering gray rock? Like, say you have to be around relatives, maybe not the narc per se, but around relatives who are unwilling but still flying monkeys. You know how you go to a party and maybe a sister or a brother's there, and they bring up mom or dad, and how can you gray rock that and still feel okay at the party? And that's a great tips. Okay, I thought she said something else. I have ideas, but I want to hear Colleen's ideas. Anyway, back to when you're triggered and you have a reaction to it, like we all do, and then you feel shame for having that reaction. Does anyone have that happen? So my feelings on shame when it comes to something like this, where there's really nothing to be ashamed of when you look at it logically. It makes sense that you would, of course, but you've done nothing wrong except to have a reaction to a trigger, right? So it's nothing intentional. There's nothing, harmful to anybody else. There's really the shame is part of the programming, right? So, but one thing shame does is it can keep you trapped in the feeling of being wrong. Like the shame can sort of keep you under the control of the trigger and keep it spinning back to the trigger. And so one suggestion I had was to pay attention to what's happening in your body when you have a trigger. When you feel yourself be uncomfortable, usually we can think back and be like, oh yeah, I got really nervous when this happened, and when I saw this thing, or when somebody said this particular thing, and I got really nervous, I got really anxious, my stomach hurt, started sweating, whatever. And if you pay attention to your body, and you can take like 3 to 5 breaths, even if it's in response to someone, even if someone's standing right in front of you, it feels like forever. But honestly, people take pauses all the time between a question and an answer, and they can wait for their answer. Taking 3 to 5 breaths just to take a pause and notice what's happening with your body. Oh, okay, there's that nervous feeling. This must be a trigger. It's like being able to catch them when they're happening can prevent you from then saying or doing something that's in reaction to that trigger that later on you feel shame for. So I think it's going back and sort of reassessing it and then trying it again in different ways. Okay, we got lots of talking here, so I'm going to read some of this. Colleen says it's okay. We're going back to when I asked her what are some tricks, like if you were at a party, a holiday party, and there were family members there, but not necessarily the narcissist. And that they will be unwilling, but still flying monkeys, because anything you say could get back to the narc. So Colleen says it's okay to excuse yourself from those conversations by saying to maybe to chat about it on another occasion, or to enjoy the holiday. That's right. Yeah, to just sort of defer the conversation to something else. So, yeah, that's a great gray rock. It's a polite gray rock, and it certainly. I mean, we're not gray rocking the narc here, but I'm talking about you kind of do have to gray rock other people sometimes when it's in relation to the narc. So not engaging and focusing on Aunt Jane rather than the toxic brother. Exactly. So don't engage in any conversation that you feel is leading you down the rabbit hole of talking about the narc, or talking about anything to do with how you feel about anything that happened in relation to the narc, and focusing back on the person talking to you or somebody else in the family that is in a more positive. Is that what you're saying, Colleen? I'm kind of putting words because obviously I'm reading here. Phoenix says, narc mom's 70th birthday yesterday. No contact. Do you feel guilty? You miss your dad too. Dangerous to have contact. Your birthday's coming up. Bad trigger. Okay. Well, I say happy birthday, and I'm glad you're walking this planet with us. So I hope that you will find some way to celebrate yourself on your birthday, even though I know it triggers you, and I know it can be a mixed bag. So Colleen says, keep busy, help out with hosting and serving, circulate the room, and take turns speaking to everyone, not just one person. That's a great idea. Kind of don't lock yourself into conversation with one person, so then you're not trapped talking about something you don't want to be talking about. Lynn is asking or saying tips on how to allow the projections and attacks personal and not use reactive abuse. Makes me feel bad for engaging. Can you say a little bit more about that? Like maybe give me a little example, because my head's in another direction here. How to not allow. Wait. I'm sorry. I'm not following it, and I don't know why. Colleen, take a moment on your own, even just in the bathroom for 5 minutes. That's a great. I think all empaths need that. We need to take time by ourselves when we're in a crowd to sort of regroup and come back to ourselves and not feel so overwhelmed by any party situation. Moving my camera. Sorry. Let's see. Hi, James. Phoenix says, I so much appreciate y'all and healing. We appreciate you too. I'm glad you're here. How are you feeling? Any better from last time? I hope. Let's see. Life's Revival. Most of my triggers are anger. Usually caused by memories of thinking of a dream. Okay. Mornings are difficult for me. Okay, see, I love dreams even when they're hard. And here's why. If they're not things that actually happened, but maybe fragments of things that actually happened, if that makes sense. Like sometimes our dreams can be um, super triggering because they are basically flashbacks happening in our sleep. And other times they're fragments and pieces of things that actually happened, but then they're all mixed up in the crazy dream world stories that we're telling ourselves from our subconscious minds. And sometimes you can take and write those down and then just go through and look for symbols. And actually, find a dream analysis book. I like Jungian dream analysis. I don't know a ton about it, but what I do know, I really connect with. So personally, I would go through and look for, like, oh, being chased down a hall. What does that mean? And you can look up, Jung dream chased down a hall. Sometimes what you're actually dreaming is super powerfully healing and you don't even know it. But the problem is we attach so much fear based on what we think what the dream felt like, or the actual, like if we were to run the dream like a movie, it would be really scary. But when we look for the symbols of what our subconscious mind is trying to tell us, it can be really healing. So if it's not something that is directly, like flashbacks of trauma, which then, therapy is a better option for, you can write these down and sort of investigate. It completely diffuses nightmares for me personally. I mean, it's not going to work for everybody, but it completely takes the grip of the dream and diffuses it into something else. And I realize how amazing our minds are and how much we're trying to heal all the time. So it's worth a shot. Tips. Lynn is saying tips not to allow the projections or the attacks from the ex-narc feel personal. Okay, I get that now. I want to engage and get so angry about the attacks. And then I'm going to skip down here. You say the character attacking and the made up lies hurt me and they aren't true. And I don't want to keep explaining and reacting. Takes me out of character. So you need to stay in contact with them. Or is this happening like through other people telling you that the narc said things? How is this happening, and how are you relating to them now? Are you trying to be no contact? Are you low contact for many reasons that we need to be low contact? Kind of depends what your situation is. Life survival. I will do that. Thanks, Lise. It's let me know how it goes. It can be really interesting and kind of fun, I think, but it's better than having the nightmare and not knowing what to do with it all day long and feeling that horrible feeling that you feel when you wake up in the morning and having it like stuck to you all day. Gives you something to do with it. And I've heard other people work with that and really change around. Like you can kind of see where you're working to heal and what you're actually trying to tell yourself. It can be really interesting. Anyway, so I'm sorry, I'm going back here. Tips not to allow the projections and attacks from the ex-narc feel personal. Okay, so when you're gray rocking back, so obviously you don't want to engage. And so say you have to talk to the narcissist or you talk to someone who is being a flying monkey and relaying information to you that the narc has said about you or whatever your situation. We have to remember that our truth is valid, right? And like you said, you don't want to keep explaining and then reacting. But you still have your truth and their character attacking. Well, there's two things: what to do about it and what to do about it internally with yourself. You were no contact and you allowed her to contact you and engaged in it. Okay. We are no contact again. I'm sitting in this anger. Okay. I get sucked in when she finds a way to contact me. Okay. So now that it's over and you are back to no contact, you can do two things. I mean, one thing, you could write out all of her nonsense on a piece of paper and then draw a line, and on the other side of the piece of paper, write down the truth of what happened. And then you can just take a big black pen and cross hers out. we can't make them obviously admit to, understand, know. We can't, there is no reconciliation with an argument with them or a debate, or, and especially if you're going no contact, she's feeling discarded. And so she's having a narc injury. And so of course she's going to attack, right? That's what they do. So working back with yourself, you can do things to help yourself feel validated for your truth. Once you're feeling a little bit of separation between what the narcissist is saying and your truth, if you do have to engage, the way I gray rock is I think, oh, this is projection. I know my truth. Okay, they're projecting it. I just think through what they're doing and like naming it in my head. I don't say it to them. And it somehow makes me less identified with what they're saying. Like I could care less because it's not real anyway, Let's see, anything, go ahead and keep chiming in so I'll talk back and forth with you. It's easier for my brain. That makes sense. Okay. Yeah. It's like, we don't want to be programmed to believe it's not that we're going to believe the lies they said, it's that we're going to believe there's some incongruity with like what we believe and what they believe or what they're saying. There's like that confusion, right? And we know the truth, but we're angry that we're trying to defend ourselves, and then cognitive dissonance comes in and things get really mixed up. So, and that's the whole point of why they gaslight. They know it makes people mixed up. They know that they can, I don't know that they know they're creating cognitive, they don't think they understand the whole, or all people don't understand the whole psychology of what they're doing to someone else when they manipulate and gaslight, but they certainly know that if I mix things up and I make it really confusing, then, and I start accusing back, it's like they can slam the door on any truth. So we have to realize that is their game, not ours. And how to not react to it is, obviously no contact. But if she does contact you, you need to find a way, hopefully, to shut that down so that you're not even looking or talking, because it's obvious what she's going to do, right? She's just going to keep doing it. So I think I'm rambling now. So anybody else have questions? Phoenix, you're saying that you got worse. You barely held on. Oh, you saw a doctor for help and you're falling through the cracks. It's not okay. No, it's not okay. I'm sorry. I don't like hearing that. I want you to feel better. Too many professionals are not trauma informed, and they could be. I know, it's really sad. Have you, I'm trying to think, there's a new book out. I'm going to have to look for it. Trauma might be interesting for you. Let's see. Colleen saying, use your anger to propel you forward to a healthy place and let it go. Yeah. You know your truth and find peace in it. That's so right. And Colleen said something to Life's Revival to try changing the morning routine in the morning, just to bring you some peace. Yeah, that's a great idea. Try changing it. Don't just go into your normal especially when you've had a bad dream. Do something, a lot of self-care, stuff to sort of snap you out of it in a good way. Anybody have any more questions here or want to talk about anything else? Hey, James, you're quiet. What you doing today? Let's see. I have a funny angle on this. Okay, there we go. What were we talking about? Colleen, anything else you want to say about group? I also have a group coming up for, actually the Trauma Bonds group starting soon again. I'm going to pull out my information so I can see what the date is on the 13th. So next week, next Thursday, not this Thursday coming up, the Trauma Bonds group will start again. So it's not a Trauma Bonds group. We don't want to trauma bond you. It is finding yourself again, coming back to yourself when you're trauma bonded. So that's coming up, and I will talk about that later. But anything else we got going on here? Silence. Colleen, anything you want to say about the group that I have missed? I am not remembering everything we talked about. I really like that topic, Lynn. I'm thinking more about it. And this is the problem is I get quiet when I'm thinking. Anything else you want to know about that maybe I didn't touch on, or situations that come up that I could help with that with? Um, Having your character attacked is extremely infuriating. It's not only infuriating, there is that strong need to defend yourself, and they know it. That's why they're doing it. Um, I don't know if it helps, but it does help me to know that is why they're doing it. They're doing it for that purpose and that purpose only. There is no truth to it. And people who know you will know the truth. People, and that's, during a smear, that's really all you can say to people is if someone mentions it, if you know me, you know the truth. And the more you defend yourself, the more guilty you look. And that's what they want. They want you to spin out of control and react so that you look crazy or angry or aggressive so they can play the victim, depending on their style. Colleen is saying, the group is starting to form nicely and it's such a low cost. I hope more can join. Yeah, I do too. I think especially this time of year, it's why I'm out here talking about it so much today, because especially this time of year, having some support, having peers, having community around you can make all the difference. So, yeah, that's what Colleen said, the same thing. Life's revival is so true. My anger bottles up, and in time I explode. I have to find a way to expel the anger without exploding. Well, mindfulness helps. I don't know if you saw the video I posted up last week. I talked to Paul Weinfeld. He is a mindfulness teacher, and he did a really lovely meditation. I'll have another one that I'll post up next week for gratitude. Or this week rather. But it can help, when you've been triggered, and we don't want to it's kind of a funny thing where, of course, we want to hold on to a piece of that anger because it's what's propelling us to stay no contact half the time. But at the same time, we don't want to live in the anger, right? So, and you certainly don't want it bottled up and exploding. So, a mindfulness practice, that meditation was maybe 5 minutes. It's pretty easy to do a couple times a day. It really, really is amazing. It really can help you finding the inner calm and connecting with the truth that you have in you. So if you know your truth and you know what's been going on, your side of things, can help you connect back to that in a place that isn't coming from anger, if that makes sense. Colleen's saying, put the anger into productivity. Do something that needs work around the house, or volunteer in your community to put your focus elsewhere by helping others. And that's really true too. Feel good projects and anger bring you joy. I love that you said that, Colleen, because now I'm thinking back to that video. He talks about cultivating generosity, and I had never thought of it that way. I've never thought of the generosity because, most of us are givers and pleasers and pretty generous to begin with. So I've never thought of the need to cultivate generosity when you already feel like you're fairly generous, or have had that taken advantage of. When you've had your generosity used and taken advantage of, it can be confusing. But the cultivation of generosity is what you do when you volunteer, or when you focus your energy, even having generosity towards yourself to, I don't know, clean out your garage or something that's needed when you're angry. It's a way better use of the energy, but it's also, the intention of having generosity towards yourself or towards someone else builds gratitude in you. And it really is something that can bring you joy. So, and a lot of it has to do with what you're thinking on the inside. You love, did you say alchemizing the passion of anger? Changing it from one thing to another. Yeah, it's a huge, powerful feeling, the anger. And a lot of us are afraid of it even because we're not used to it and we don't want to live there. So it can be really helpful to, do as Colleen is suggesting. And then what I'm suggesting along with that is to add on the intention of gratitude, add on the intention of generosity rather, and see what gratitude you feel from the generosity that you're giving. When you're giving generosity to someone who doesn't give back or to someone who's taking it as supply, it's an entirely different experience than using that same generosity towards someone who is truly in need. Whether they can express gratitude back or not, that they are in need, and you're using that generosity toward them can be completely different, and it can really fill you with gratitude for having someone to share your generosity with. um, it's empowering to put passion into passion of your choice. It very much is empowering. um, Phoenix says also females are not allowed anger. This is true for a lot of people. Colleen says that's taking your power back. It sure is. It can take your power back, and you get stuff done too, and you help other people. So it can be useful. Life's Revival. Yes, I'm still learning how to be generous to the right people. Yeah, it's you know we practice and we try, and he calls it the practice of generosity, not go be generous. That's what I liked about it. The practice of generosity is completely different when you think of it that way. Um, and when I hear that, I think also of having the intent of being generous rather than um, doing it because sometimes if we are codependent, we might be generous so that someone will be nice back to us, or so we think it equates to love. It will get us love, whatever. So it's not that the things we do are necessarily wrong to do. It's sometimes just the intent behind it. That's what I'm getting at. Colleen's saying, look for red flags. Yeah. And that is to Life's Revival, I am assuming. Yes, that makes sense. Anyway, go watch that if you haven't seen that. Who was starting with the anger? That was Lynn, right? And then Life's Revival. Okay, so if you guys haven't seen that video, go take a look at it if you want. And there's a meditation at the end. So if you don't want to listen to the whole thing, just skip to the end and watch that part. But I'll separate it out so it's easy to get the meditation itself later this week. It can help you come back to yourself, come back to the present moment, because what we're doing when we're spinning around in anger at a reaction, like you were talking about, Lynn, when you're like constantly in reaction, or even the dreams, when you're talking about when you're just in reaction to a dream, what we're anchoring to is the past. We're not anchoring to the present moment. So we're anchoring to a belief about something that happened in the past. Even if it was 5 minutes ago, it's still the past. So mindfulness can help bring you back into your body in the present moment. And it can be very interesting what happens with your emotions at that point. I don't know what's going to happen. It's your emotions. You may need to go, okay, now I need to go run. I got to burn this anger out of me. You need to go work, or it may be, you feel a lot better. So, you'll watch it. Yeah. Yeah. You did that a lot in the past. Okay. As your Bible says, as a child, I was punished severely for being angry. Yeah. Children have such unabashed anger, don't they? Sometimes, and I think even well-meaning parents can, and I don't know your obviously your parent history, but even well-meaning ones can invalidate children's anger so easily, and it can really set up the programming for not being allowed, like Phoenix was talking about, to even have anger. The anger toward a narcissist who is smearing your name is completely legitimate and totally justifiable. Problem is, we don't want to live there. Sometimes we got to feel it for a little while and just use it as another reason why we do not want that person in our life, so that we don't break no contact, like I said earlier. But your parents were cluster bees. Okay, well, that's a different situation entirely. And, so it's right. Lost my train of thought. Help me out here, guys. I don't know what I was talking about. The anger. Oh, but not being allowed as a child. You can reparent that. You can talk to the place when you're angry. you can tell yourself it's okay to feel anger. And the best thing that's helped me with reparenting is um, realizing that I'm not trying to feel what I feel now about the way I felt then, if that makes sense. Like as an adult, when if that were my situation, I might think, my parents didn't allow me to feel anger, and then I'd start down the line of justifications and reasons why this happened. They were cluster Bs. They did this, they did that. I felt this, I felt that. Instead of going straight to the feeling of the child who was frustrated or whatever it is you felt, like what is it that you felt, and then talking to that place from an adult, from me now, and saying, oh, it's okay to feel that. I understand you're really whatever the emotion is, and just validating what it is that you felt back then can be really helpful. This is probably going too much into it on a live stream, but anyway, Lynn says, I will take a look at the video. When you get taken off guard, it's a little harder. It totally is. It throws you for a loop, really. My ex-narc is cunning in her ways to contact me. Okay. Whether it's through work, with no caller ID. Oh, yeah. You're more angry. She says, I'm more angry or sad with myself for taking the steps back when I was doing so good. She threatens suicide. Okay. So when we break no contact, people get really angry at themselves. Is that what you're saying? That because you allowed the no contact to break, that you're feeling angry with yourself? I'm not sure if that's what you're saying, but it's okay. So, and that you feel like you took all these steps back after coming so far in your healing. You are not at square one. That is the number one thing to remember when you have a Hoover or you break no contact. Even if you have a full-blown Hoover and you are not at square one. You have all of that healing that you've put into yourself is still there. What you are is triggered. You're down again. You feel all the things you feel, but you're not starting over. So you can apply everything that you have put into your healing so far, forward into continuing. It's like seeing it like catching a cold after having pneumonia. You don't have pneumonia anymore. Now you just got a cold. So we're going to get over this for a few days and then keep moving forward. It's scary because we think it means we're back in the trauma, or it means, that's why you jumped on the coaching. You knew what to do. Yes, exactly. We continue with something. Okay, I'm gonna up it. I'm gonna take it one more step and get some actual individual attention, coaching support, or whatever it is that someone needs. That's perfect. That's exactly what it's there for, and why we keep the cost at a place where people can afford it. So that because we need to have places to go when things like this happen, so we can continue moving forward instead of falling back and feeling like we're just going down again. Colleen says, as an adult, we can teach ourselves how to feel emotions appropriately by starting with knowing that we are entitled to our emotions and that it's okay. That's exactly right. Yeah, that's great, Colleen. Thank you. You're welcome, Life's Revival. And Lynn is saying, I'm doing a 30-day manifesting course. Oh, I love it. And I feel she messed up my process. Nah. You know what she did? She just gave you something to work with. Take that energy and turn it around. Seriously, if you're doing a manifesting course, take that energy and flip it. Just use it. Use her for the energy she just gave you. You don't want it in the universe. I don't mean take the negative energy into the manifesting course. I mean, it's sort of like, okay, one time I had a trigger, huge trigger. Years later, found something. I didn't even think I could be triggered. But it sent me into the exact feeling I had when I saw the thing the first time. It was so extremely triggering that I thought I was gonna throw up. I was shaking. I had to sit down. My legs actually got weak, like, and it threw me into the exact emotional state I was in. But what happens at the point where I am is I took that energy and I just breathed with it. I mean, I just sat there and said, "Okay, I'm feeling this. I'm feeling this. I remember this feeling and I'm actually feeling it again. Yeah, that was really bad. That was a bad thing. I don't, and got rid of the thing and I started recovering, of course, because I didn't have, the close connection that you're talking about where it's, so new and fresh. But what happened was I was filled with adrenaline and negative thoughts because it immediately threw me into all my negative um, beliefs of self. And so I was like, okay, I'm not going to go down that hole. No, not going to go there. And I worked with listening to what I was telling myself about what I believe and, affirming the positive instead and turning it around. And as I did that, I had the best day because I took all of that energy and I literally got a ton done I didn't have to think much about it. It was like I was propelled from the energy that gave me, if that makes any sense. So if you can find a way to like listen to yourself, listen to what you're telling yourself about it, what you believe about yourself. And I'm going to read what you're saying here. Just to see. Lynn is saying, meaning I don't want to think about it, so it's something I put out. Okay, yeah. Lynn, it says, I'm hard on myself. I think it's a great idea to use the energy in a positive way, similar to when I meditate and take what comes in and use it. Exactly. It is exactly that. It's just like that. And but also being fair and honest to yourself, and listening to what you tell yourself when you're hard on yourself and changing that belief around. And that's just something to work with. Obviously, it's a ton to work with, but it can help a lot in how to handle triggers. Hi, James. It's okay that you're late. Phoenix, any ideas on how to explain to dad about no contact with female parental unit? How to explain to your father. So you want to talk to him, but you don't but you're going to need to tell him, or he's going to ask you about why you don't talk to your mother. Is that what you're saying? Hi, is that Scoop? Am I saying that right? Scorp 444. Am I saying? I can't see. Yes. Okay. I have to get really close to it. How are you? Yes. So that is what you're saying. Well, what do you think he'll ask you? Why don't you talk to your mother? Hello, butterfly mama. How are you doing today? And for those of you just coming in, if you have any questions or anything you want to talk about, go ahead and ask. We were talking about all kinds of things today. So, how to explain to your dad about no contact. Colleen, any ideas here with that one? How to explain to one parent or about the no contact with the other parent. I would say as minimal as possible information. They don't need a lot of information. They are married to the person. They're not, I'm assuming they're still married. I think I know they are, but assuming they're still married, they are married to the person. They saw everything that happened. They know what's happening. People, I believe they are, Colleen, together. I wish I had just one more day with my mother, he says. Okay. So he's trying to guilt you into talking to your mother by saying that he personally wishes he had one more day with his mother. So he's basically not being very fair to you. Okay. 53 happy years married. Okay. Well, I would keep it as minimal as possible and not look for validation there, because our hearts are going to want that other parent to understand us. And obviously they are still committed to this other person who is toxic enough for you to go no contact. It's your fault because she got pregnant young. Is that what you're saying? I don't understand that last one. Yeah, I would keep it as minimal, and then change the subject. Honestly, if he's doing stuff like that, I would just smile and say, Yeah, what would you do if you had that time with your mom? What would you do if you saw your mom one more time, you know? And just let him talk about his mom, honestly. Maybe that's what he wants, I don't know. Probably not, but I would just turn it onto that and change the subject. I wouldn't go into it. I really wouldn't, especially because that sounds like manipulate. If he's not just talking about his mom, which could be part of it, I don't know. It's toxic what he's asking you because that's manipulating you to um, feel like you should feel guilty for not talking to your mother instead of directly saying something to you. Um, he gets the brunt of her fury. Well, that's his choice, right? I mean, it's it's the life he lives with her, and I don't think he's entirely not toxic, correct? So that's why I'm speaking a little less um, what's the word, compassionately about it, maybe, I don't know. Colleen says it's okay to agree or disagree and say that you would rather not discuss it. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm saying too. You enjoy your time with him and let it be. Lynn says, thank you. I appreciate all the feedback. I have to remember her contact is for supply. Her contact is supply. Absolutely. Yes. Um, it's killing him. It's killing him. Yeah, he's really guilting you, isn't he? So are you wanting to limit contact with him? Is that what you're considering? Last Revival says, it's a shame she couldn't see you as a gift. So sorry. I know. It is. Yeah. Okay, who came in here? Butterfly Mama and Scorp. Do you guys have anything you want to talk about, or are you just checking it out in here? Happy to have you. I don't think I've met you in here before, so anything else anyone wants to talk about here? What time is it? 4:30, almost 4:30. We've been on a while. You're not sure. Loved the daddy. I thought he was. Oh, so hard. You know, I think if it were me, I would, and I wanted to still talk to my father, I would change the subject. I would nod. I would cry rocket, but politely, and talk around it. I wouldn't go directly at it and give him any explanation really, because he's not going to understand. You know, he lives with her and yet he's acting as if he doesn't get it. Someone who lives with a narc or a toxic person and gets it doesn't ask that kind of question. They understand it. So I would just keep it about the present time, like Colleen was suggesting, keep it about now, keep it about what's going on. Or if he wants to talk about his mom, he can talk about his mom, but not yours. Just politely decline that conversation. Somebody was okay. I had two narcissists, Scorp. Am I say? Oh, Scorp. Okay, let's see. I had two narcissist people ganging up on me. Oh, playing mind games. They were trying to make out I'm crazy. Is this recently, or is this what's going on right now, or is this what happened in the past? And what is it doing to you? So that, like, how is that affecting you? And are you still in contact with them? Life's Revival, so did I, Phoenix. Hurts like crazy to realize the truth. Doesn't it? It's terrible. So, you know, you guys, reparenting yourself again can be, can change your life around, you know? It's, yeah, strength and peace to both of you, really. I'm waiting to see what Scorp says. Yes, about 2 months ago. And how's that left you feeling? And are you in contact with them now? Two months ago. Yeah, I got that. Anyway, that was a long pause. Sorry. Again, you know, with Colleen's has you're feeling down from it, from that, or is it? I mean, obviously, just having narcs around can make you down, right? That kind of goes back to what we were talking about with Lynn about focusing on, well, actually it's a little different, but focusing on yourself now. I mean, if you're, I don't know if you are still with them. I'm waiting to see your reply. But focusing back on yourself, we can't, this thing that happened when they did what they did is not going to be repaired because they are toxic. And so if we keep, having our self-worth attached to what they did, then we keep ourselves being pulled back into the past, which is what the thing that they did, back into that time, and keep us anchored to the trauma. So, a lot of self-care and a lot of finding ways to put your focus on your own healing and moving forward, and kind of internally gray rocking the memory of what they did. Obviously you're going to remember it, but I don't know what else is going on with it. So I don't know what else to say here. But a lot of self-care around, your daily life, and bringing your focus back to yourself can turn that negative energy into positive energy. Because right now you've got a lot of energy, even though it doesn't feel like it. When you're down, you feel like there's no energy. It's actually a ton of energy to be down. That's why it's so exhausting. And turning it around to something positive can uplift you, in a pretty amazing way. Life's revival and all survivors. You say the big words. I can't say that word right now. We love you too, Phoenix. Thank you. Learning to trust yourself is a big self-love job. Absolutely. In fact, that's, I do the personal power series coaching, and right now we're doing self-esteem. We did boundaries. Next month is learning to trust yourself. So that's a good thing that you brought up, because it really can take work. And there's all kinds of ways we don't trust ourselves. And it can be really interesting to work with that. So I'm glad you brought that up, because that is actually coming up starting in a couple weeks. So Colleen says, learning how to love yourself the way a good mother should have. A good mother should have. Good in capital letters. Absolutely. That is, that's the hope, right? And it's actually not a hope. You can actually do it. You can learn to love yourself that way. You can learn to see yourself as worthy. Reciprocity is important to a good relationship. It sure is. James, Lise, I think for Christmas, you should gift yourself a big monitor. I think for Christmas, I should give myself sunglasses and maybe a big monitor. I don't know. I have a big monitor here. It's just that I have a crappy little laptop that is working all of this. And anyway, you made me laugh. Like a 24. Ah, yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll see what I gift myself. It's more about the way I'm sitting here, and that I didn't set this up at all right. I kind of came on impromptu. Anyway, yes, you get confused with your compassion to take care versus knowing I am being sucked in for supply. Okay. Being an empath and wanting to believe in people. You can believe in people, just not narcissists. Once you know they are toxic, I mean, we don't really know what they are. We're not diagnosing them, but you can believe in other people, just not them. And getting sucked back in is exactly what it is. You're being sucked back in to give them supply. It can be confusing, but we have to learn as empaths where to put the focus, and where it is toxic to put the focus, where it's toxic to you to put your focus and to put all of that good energy. There are so many people in the world who need it. You know what I mean? And then there's those that'll take it in a way that isn't giving back, and isn't, basically, if it's draining you to the point of you being depressed, you being, creating beliefs about yourself that are not ones that are pleasant, not ones that are good, it's toxic. Get away. One of them still causes trouble for you, telling lies and trying to turn people against me. She's my next neighbor. Ugh. So she lives right there. One is very jealous of you. Okay. Yeah, so you're getting like continual smear going on right now. And she lives next door. Is that what you're saying? Um, Lynn says, yes, exactly. I am volunteering with my therapy dog now for hospice. I love that. That's sweet. And that's a great place to give, right? Especially with a dog, because you can kind of sit back and just handle the dog and let the dog do the work. And then you're not draining your empath energy quite so much, because it can really be a drain even when you're volunteering if you're not up for it, right? Even when you're giving to people who need it, it can also be hard on certain empaths or certain people really to be pouring out when they don't have a whole lot that's being poured back into them. So when you have a dog doing that part of it, that's great. It's perfect. Does that help you? Last Revival says to Scorp to be true to yourself. Let your light shine for everyone to see. Exactly. Yes. So yes, that's your neighbor. I don't even know, when they're that close and they're right there, is it like a daily thing or is it just when you see them? And who are they talking to? Are they just like bad mouthing you to each other or are they going around to other people? You're getting help looking for a new place to live. That's the next thing I was going to suggest is try to find somewhere else to live because it's just too much to have around. And sometimes we just got to get away, like physically get away from it. Lynn says, yes, it is helping because you love giving back. That's great. What kind of dog do you have? I know, isn't that beautiful, Colleen? I love that too. I've been wanting to do that with my dog. She's not quite ready. She's too young, but anything else? We're getting close to my time here. So Lynn says, I'm an interfaith minister and I do a lot of heart work, not for my income. So I enjoy doing weddings. You have a golden retriever. Of course, right? Her name is Sadie and she is 12 years old. Aw, sweet Sadie. We'll give her a pet for us. So Scorp, the moving, how's that going with looking for somewhere to live and how are you feeling about that? I think are they bad mouthing you or smearing you to everyone? Or are they doing it within like a small circle? How's that happening? If it's a smaller circle, I mean, obviously avoid the circle. If it's people everywhere, I mean, it can just be so hard. You just got to hold your head high and be true to yourself and not let it get to you, not let it come in. And I know that is way easier said than done, but a lot of self-care and a lot of realizing that you have worth and that you matter. I'm thinking of a situation where I had this happen and I'm not sure I handled it the best way. But what I did do that was useful for me is when confronted by someone who I knew, well, basically, I saw someone that I knew I had been smeared to. And I think I handled this part okay. So I knew that I'd been smeared to this person and within this group of women. And she saw me and gave me that uncomfortable look of not knowing whether she should talk to me or not. We were like in a grocery store or somewhere in public. And, it was like she was averting her eyes and dodging like she was going to get away. Or wanted to get away. And so instead of shrinking back and hiding from her, I walked right up and said, hey, how's it going? You look great. What's going on? And had a conversation with her that completely broke the ice. She dropped her guard, acted completely normal to me after a few minutes, and then we parted ways. I don't need her to like me. What I needed was to not feel afraid and intimidated by someone who was told something that wasn't even true. In other words, she was innocent. She's just holding information in her mind that isn't even true about me. And I didn't need to explain it. I didn't need to even talk about the situation. What I did was just be myself toward that person. And I still don't know to this day what she knows and what she, anything. But I do know I did not let the intimidation get to me. And I had a normal conversation without bringing it up. And I think it helped me a lot, whether it helps her or not. I mean, whatever she believes, she believes. People you talk to and your neighbors. Okay, yeah, that's what I do. I would just go on as if nothing's happening toward those people and talk and be if we're reacting to what we think that they think about us, then of course we're going to act different or funny or defensive or whatever your method is when you're uncomfortable. But if we take a deep breath and realize that we're not in the wrong here, those people who did are saying horrible things are in the wrong, and treat the people that they're telling it to like normal people. They have a one impression of you that is the real you, and then they have the lies that people are telling. Some people figure it out. Um, let's see. You're getting help moving. Good. Good. You're getting help. That'll be great to get out. Um, what else is on here? It's a little dog. I think that's it. Anybody have anything else before we end? Let me know and I will talk to you some more. If not, I will end this very shortly. Your phone keeps on ringing, so I keep on missing your live chat. Well, you can watch it later. That's okay. Anything else? Anybody have anything else they want to talk about at all? Again, Colleen has a group coming up starting on Wednesday for adult children of narcissists. To help you heal, to give you some community and give you some support and some coaching for whatever you're working with to heal along those lines. And that starts Wednesdays. It's at 6:00 in the evening Central Time, and $60 for 4 weeks. But they are in 4 weeks. Every Wednesday, and that is it. And I have a trauma bond, breaking the trauma bonds and bringing your focus back to yourself group starting on the 13th, which is a Thursday. And that group is Thursdays at 6 p.m. Pacific time. So that's 8 Central. And that'll run for 4 weeks as well and be $60 for 4 weeks. So basically group coaching when they're in groups like this are $15 a week. So that is what's going on around here. Let's see. Thank you, Lynn. Thanks for joining me, and I appreciate the questions. You've had some great topics. Not that they're great when you're living them, right? But they gave me a lot to talk about, and I appreciate it. You're welcome, Life Revival. I'm glad it helped you and get those dreams being a little less scary. And if you feel Life Revival like they are like so close that it's terrifying to even think about them again or to write them down, then it could be something if you need to talk to a therapist about. But that sometimes we need to get the trauma out, and if that is too close, make sure you take care of yourself in that way and get the help you need to get the trauma where you can start releasing some of it. Colleen says, it's so nice to chat with all of you. Thank you for being here and have a wonderful evening. And a very special thank you to Lise. Love and light to you all. You are welcome. And thank you for joining me and talking me through this, Colleen. I will see you guys later. I'll probably live stream again. Well, I'll do it soon. I don't know what day. I'm sorry. Some point in the very near future this week. And again next week. So that's it. Good night. Now I have to go like this. Whoops. Hello.